All right. Hello, Michael.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Behind the Music, where Brandywine Valley Symphony's very own artistic director, Michael Hall, and I get together and chat about what we've done, what we're planning, what's coming up next, and how you can get involved.
Perfect. Looking forward to it. Here we go.
Here we go. So first off, what we previously did, we are almost fresh out of our Masterworks 2 concert. Where we had you and our soloist, Oliver Neubauer, come in and perform.
The Bruch Violin Concerto.
Oh, yes.
It's great.
It sounded amazing.
Yeah, it was a great concert.
You should have been there.
You always have time for the next concert, right? There's always an opportunity to come back.
There is always the next concert. What I really felt thrilled about with that concert is, one, it was part of the Young Artist Program that we had talked about during our last chat. And Oliver got a standing ovation to the point where he played an encore piece.
Yeah. Well, it was an interesting encore piece. I don't recall what it was exactly, but it was such stylistically different than the Bruch. And that's sometimes
great. It was almost
great.
like a hoedown.
Yes, that's right. It had a real jazzy feel to it. And sometimes that's great when a soloist can play something as an encore that's different than what they did in the performance. It was a great concert. Right downtown Westchester in Knauer.
Yes.
Which was really a lot of fun. Oliver is I may not be able to say this, but I'm going to anyway. When I chatted with Oliver when we got together and talked about the piece before we rehearsed it, and I asked him, the Bruch Violin Concerto is quite a standard repertoire piece. It's played quite often. And I asked him, I said, I'm glad we're going to get together and play the Bruch. And I said, something like, how many times have you played it? He said, this is my first time with orchestra playing the Bruch, which I was thrilled about. I thought it was really great. So here was a chance for this wonderfully talented young soloist who has a great career ahead of him. And this was his first opportunity to play the Bruch Violin Concerto with orchestra. And he's played it with a piano accompaniment for sure. So I thought that was great. And boy, did he do wonderfully. His playing was so mature and so technically brilliant. He's got a fantastic future ahead of him.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody from the Young Concert Artist Agency does. That's why we like to use them, because the folks that they have on their roster are highly talented young players at the start of their career.
Yeah.
So it's a joy to be part of that and to work with someone like that. So that was his inaugural Bruch Violin Concerto, if you can believe it. And you would never have known it by listening to the performance. And it was great.
Such an ovation that he played an encore.
Isn't that wonderful?
There.
You get a lot of energy from the audience when they're really locked in and you can feel them. And funny, people ask me, because my back is to the audience. I'm probably the only one, I think, I am the only one on the stage that has the back to the audience. But all of us, as we play together, and especially on that stage at Knauer, it's very very intimate. So everyone's got everyone's close together, and so is the audience. So you can really kind of feel their attention and what's happening. It's a very odd, visceral feeling in the air. And so the reaction from the audience to Oliver and to us was really palpable. Even before the applause came. So you just know that they're hooked on everything that the orchestra is performing. It's a great feeling. So that was a wonderful concert. We had a lot of fun, a lot of great energy, and it was great to work with Oliver. It was wonderful.
It really was. What was super exciting for me was after this concert was our first Leadership Circle event afterwards, which we'll go into more detail in a moment. But we... those who are part of the Leadership Circle got to chat with Oliver after the concert and ask questions. And we found out that he has studied with Isak Perlman.
I didn't know that. Is that right, eh?
And he has a residency in Germany at one of their universities. And he's only 22. That was one of the questions. How old are you, Oliver?
Yeah, he looks like he's 18.
He does.
Yeah, I know.
He looks young, but...
and his instrument he plays, I don't know specifically what it is, but it's one of these... high quality antique instruments, and it was loaned to him by a wealthy person who owns this violin, and this is not uncommon in the industry where you'll have this, Stradivarius or a Guarneri, whatever it might be, very, very precious and wonderful instrument. They will loan it out to young performers. Wow. So it's not his violin per se. He doesn't own it, but he has the the ability to use it. Mm-hmm. And so not only is he great, but the instrument he's playing on is one of the finest in the world.
Yes.
And so that's just a wonderful combination of this musical talent playing on this great instrument. So he has the ability to play this instrument being loaned to him by someone, and it's sort of an open-ended loan. So, I'm not sure how exactly how it works in his case, but, you sort of have the instrument, you play it, and then, I guess as years go by, you figure out how it's going to proceed. But isn't that great? So he had this really world-class violin he was playing on. So
the sound, what you can do with the violin of that quality with a performer,
that's what I'm saying,
like that, it really is exceptional.
But the leadership circle, as you say, is great. Kind of a new thing for us.
Yes.
And it's really wonderful, as you say, gives a chance for some of our audience and our patrons to interact with our soloist and the musicians in the orchestra. Chance to talk to them, myself. So I think it's great. Put everybody in a room, right? And everyone gets a chance to talk with each other and share stories about the Brandywine Valley Symphony or what have you. So it's a great opportunity to share.
It was great asking you questions, asking Oliver questions, and we'll include Oliver's social media tags so you can follow his journey. But for the leadership circle, we're really excited about it. There's we've also kind of hammered out some of the details about it as well. Yeah. So our leadership circle, what it's going to be is anyone who donates up to or over $1,000 in a season is automatically entered into the leadership circle. Great. So, if you can't do $1,000 all at once, no problem. You can still be part of it. I think it comes down to something like $78 a month, something to that effect, where then you would be in the leadership circle. Yeah. And the benefits that you get with that, like priority seating, early access to tickets, entrance into exclusive events like the after event that we had with our last concert. Which did
so well too. That lovely bar as you walk into the theater, and on the left there's this beautiful little space with the bar and the seating. So I thought it was a great place to have our inaugural leadership circle gathering.
I agree. So we'll be having a situation like that with Longwood Gardens. Our next concert, Made in America, is our Masterworks 3 concert, and that's at Longwood Gardens in their open air theater. And after that concert, people in the leadership circle will have a chance to talk to Aaron Fullen, who is our composer.
That's right. Well, I want to say, before we even get into that wonderful concert coming up shortly, in a few months really, is, we as a nonprofit and as a symphony orchestra, we depend so much on our donors.
Yes.
And a lot of what allows us to do what we do is from the support of our donors. So this idea that we like to give them, if they are generous enough to donate money, we like to give them opportunities that they may not have otherwise. That's sort of the idea behind it. But in a more holistic way, just the fact that we can do this and bring beautiful music and important music and hopefully change, give people a wonderful opportunity, a night out at the concert, and all that this music can provide to someone. We can only do that from the support of our patrons.
That's very true.
So a big thank you always to everybody who sees the worth in what we do and is willing to donate to help us continue what we do. So I think it's fantastic. So,
our benefactors give so much, and I am excited that we have this new program to give them a more meaningful thank you instead of just a letter. And I know sometimes it's pretty exciting to get merchandise from places. We have mugs that we're working on.
Oh, nice! Yeah, we've got some merch coming.
Yes,
I love it.
Some merch.
I must say, as a lot of the listeners know, and maybe some of you don't, we used to be called the Kennett Symphony. This is a new rebranding for us. So we've been the Kennett Symphony for over 80 years, and we've been the Brandywine Valley Symphony for one or so.
This is our first season. Yeah.
But I just want to say that. But also, I love this logo. I think it's so cute. The string instrument and then the VS. I just think it's a wonderful logo, and we're happy. And if I may say, one of the reasons why we did our name change, because we was very successful at the Kennett Symphony for many years.
Yes.
Is Kennett is the most cute and wonderful little town in Pennsylvania, but it is quite small. And so part of the thought process was we reach already more people than just that are in Kennett.
Yes.
We have a bigger footprint already, and we want to continue to increase that. So the idea of a Brandywine Valley Symphony, in the title alone, gives us this greater reach, we hope, and this awareness from folks who maybe have never heard of us or come to a concert, whether Kennett Symphony or Brandywine Valley, that we are here to serve the greater community. That's what we want to do.
And we really do. We had a concert in Melbourne earlier this year. Very exciting for next season where we're going to be going. And it's just our reach and our impact is growing. And I think that's what
doesn't it reflect in the title, don't you think?
It does. And we're only going to get more impactful in broader areas. We're very excited about some of the ideas that our board members have come up with, different programs and initiatives we're working on. So if you would like to support, we do have we have our spring appeal coming out.
Okay.
So our spring appeal is a letter that we'll send out asking for donations. We make it as easy as possible. We even include like a little envelope with our address on it, so you don't have to worry about that to send in a check. You can donate online, and if you donate up to $1,000, you get automatically entered into the leadership circle. So we'll track that for you. You don't have to.
That's great. And this is such, again, for those who have never heard us, this is a very high level group of musicians. These are fully professional. In the orchestra world, at the regional level, there's often the distinction between a professional orchestra and a community orchestra. And, in a very fundamental way, the professional orchestra gets paid and the community orchestra does not. But it's more than that. It's the sort of musician that's a member of a professional orchestra. These are folks that spend their entire lives in one way or another in music, teaching, playing, solo work, chamber work, you name it. So their whole lives are music. Whereas a community orchestra, oftentimes, let's say the principal horn is a doctor or has another job. They all do, and then they play because they enjoy getting together. Now that's a wonderful dynamic. I've worked with community amateur orchestras, but this orchestra is a little bit of a different animal. This is the level that you can reach artistically is quite high, and so when people aren't aware of our orchestra yet. They think, well, the Philadelphia Orchestra, of course, they're world class, but we are, because we're fully professional, at such a high level right in your backyard, as we like to say.
Yeah.
You don't have to drive into Philadelphia and park and all that. It's great. I do it too. We all love the Philadelphia Orchestra, of course. But here's an opportunity to, right where you are and building your own community, you know what I mean? Providing support to the aspects of this community, artistic and otherwise, that's so important for people. Here we are, and so it's not a matter of just supporting someone for the good of it. We hope that we offer some very fine music making that it fulfills people who come to our concerts.
Yes, in an accessible way.
In an accessible way, and right, like I said, right close to home.
Yes, everyone deserves classical music, and I do think. I'm biased, but I do think that it's provided by the Brandywine Valley Symphony. That just exquisite classical music.
Yeah, that's a whole another topic which I love to talk about is the idea that classical music really is for everybody. There's such a stigma, I think, from a lot of people who don't go to concerts. Well, that's not for me. I don't understand classical music, or I've never been, or what do I wear, or when do I clap? Now, these are all legit reasons, but they, to me, indicate this idea that there's a bit of a distance between someone and classical music up on the pedestal. We don't see it that way at all. This is music that's emotional, that communicates directly to your heart. It's not a cerebral art. It's an emotional one. And so I always try to get that out to people that say, well, it sounds lovely, but I don't know if classical music is for me. It's not a matter of if you know a lot about classical music, you certainly enjoy it, but you enjoy it in a different way. If someone has no experience in playing an instrument or what have you, you enjoyed in another way. So it's not a matter of exclusive for people who know. It's for everyone, including people who just want to try it out. and see what it's like. And I think the Mendenhall, not that we can get into too much detail with our schedule, but as you say, we like to offer different things for different people.
Yes.
And the Mendenhall, if those
do.
who can look up on our website, Mendenhall is a sort of a different type of concert that we hope addresses some of these issues of, I don't really want to go. I don't know what it's all about. We give you the casualness atmosphere of a Mendenhall concert, which is right across the street, by the way, from where we are, that
the Maddox School of Music.
There you go. Exactly. And thank you for them for providing all this. So anyway, I don't want to digress too much, but you're right. It's really for everybody, and we are proud to have an orchestra of this quality to present this great music. Yeah, yes. For sure.
And I might be dating myself here, but I was aware of classical music from a very young age simply by watching Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, for sure.
There's so much classical music in those cartoons and even commercials. There's jewelry store commercials that have Vivaldi Four Seasons. They have winter playing.
Exactly.
So it's there in your life already.
That's a great point. It's in the air. And so again, another reason why people shouldn't be so worried about what's all about, because chances are you've been exposed to it already.
Yes.
And even when you look at movie music, I mean, it's a different sort of genre, but it's orchestral music. It still has the beauty of the orchestral instruments playing, and that's something people listen to all the time when you're going out to a movie or what have you, or people have their favorite soundtracks. So really, there's not much difference, I always say, between good music is good music, and whether it's orchestral or a band or what it might be. It's music generally has the ability to touch a person's soul, and this is what we do. Yes. And back to this idea of people supporting us to allow and to help us do what we do is such a thrill. We couldn't do it without them,
especially as live music.
That's the other thing. Exactly. Live performance. It's never the same twice. And there's something about being in an audience and feeding off the energy and the dedication and the concentration of all these musicians on the stage. Everybody's working so hard, delivering what they can to an audience. And so the live experience is something so unique. You can feel it in the air in the concert hall. So you're right. It's a very different thing than, everyone loves to sit and listen to their favorite songs, at home and on Spotify, whatever. And that's totally fine. But there's a certain, and I think it's also the community of the audience. It's a shared event, which we have not that many of. And so this shared event with everybody in what I think it's like a little bit? It's like watching a movie, a comedy. That's what I would feel. If you're in the theater and you're watching comedy, everyone's laughing. And so you get this sort of, instead of you sitting at home alone, you might still laugh. It's funny. But there's something different about being in a group of people.
It's true.
Sharing something. And so I think the same thing goes with a great concert, classical or otherwise, where everybody's sort of experiencing it together as a community.
So we will get to our Mother's Day concert in a moment. But before we move past the live performance experience, we have our Masterworks 3 concert, Made in America, coming up in June. And that's going to be outside. So how does an outdoor concert kind of affect the live performance aspect in that community feel?
Yeah, I think it even enhances it. I think there's something very special about being outdoors, under the stars, beautiful weather, listening to great music. It adds a lot to the experience. So we can't wait. We've been playing outdoors at Longwood for many years, and it's always a very unique and exciting experience. The audience, I find, is very receptive and ready to have a good time. I think it's because the environment is so wonderful.
Yes.
Maybe a lot of them have walked through the gardens all day, and then they come and see our concert at night. So there's a real vibe to it that's very different than a concert hall vibe. So we love it, and we try to program accordingly. You want pieces, I think, that encourage this relaxed feeling and encourage this idea of just having a good time outdoors at Longwood. So that's sort of our thinking when we start programming a concert like this. And this Made in America is perfect. Quite a selection of pieces that all of which I think sort of show the American character in different ways from different composers, which we'll get into. I think that's what makes this concert unique. We're celebrating America with pieces by many different American composers, including one that's not American, Dvorak. We're going to play his second movement of his New World Symphony. But he wrote the symphony when he was visiting America. So that's the connection there. So every piece,
it inspired him.
Exactly, and every piece that we're going to play has this a picture of the American experience, perhaps, or just the general feeling of America, something very positive and forward moving, energetic. Yeah. So a lot of these pieces are going to have that kind of quality to them.
That's exciting.
So that's great. Yeah, that's great.
So what other composers can we expect?
So we will start the concert with John Williams. We love talk about movie music,
wrong.
right?
Yes.
We're talking about movie music. This is another aspect of what we love to do as a symphony orchestra. We have and we continue to play a lot of music of John Williams, called the Liberty Fanfare, written for the 100th anniversary of the Statue of Liberty. Oh, and it's typical John Williams, full of energy. Very brass heavy, brass and percussion, because it's a fanfare. So it kicks off the concert in a very uplifting way. Then we have a piece that we commissioned. And what that means is we went to the composer and said, we'd like you to write a piece for our America 250 concert with these sort of parameters. And Colin, our board member, actually was the lead on this. So Colin Hanna knew a composer. His name is Aaron Fulham, and he approached him and said, "We'd like you to write this piece for our concert." And Colin's idea and Aaron's idea was to incorporate all of the classic American songs into one medley.
All 250 years.
All 250 years, right? And the piece starts, I'll just give you an example, with Yankee Doodle.
Okay.
It's a Grand Old Flag, the Battle Hymn of the Republic.
Oh, wow.
Stars and Stripes.
Okay.
So what he's done so cleverly, Aaron, is that he has incorporated in an orchestral setting all these American songs. So you'll hear the Yankee Doodle, you'll recognize, and then we move to another song. And so it's sort of a snapshot, well, not even a snapshot, it's like a history lesson of all the different, or many of the different American songs.
Oh, that's
so, and it's called An American Dream. It's the name of the piece.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So that's going to be brand new. No one's heard it before. Okay. We're the ones that commissioned it, and we're going to give the first performance of this piece.
A world premiere.
World premiere.
Wow.
And I love, commissions are so exciting for all those reasons. It's a new piece. It's written for us. And so we're going to really enjoy that. I know the audience will really enjoy it. Kind of a romp through all the different American songs. Then, as I mentioned, we're going to play the second movement of the New World Symphony by Dvorak. And Dvorak is a Czech composer, and he came to America, actually to New York, to lead a conservatory, a newly created conservatory. And what Dvorak was trying to do is give American composers at that time, 1890s now, a path forward. What does it mean to have American music? This is long before Copland or Bernstein. This is long before that. So he was trying to encourage American composers. What is their language? How can they create their own style of music? And so he wrote this piece, among others, called the New World Symphony. And we're going to play the second movement. And the reason why I chose the second movement is that it has this beautiful melody played by the English horn. And it really sounds like a spiritual. And in fact, it's been co-opted. It's been used, that melody, as a spiritual. It's not African-American from its conception. It was actually written by Dvorak, but it sounds so much like an African-American spiritual that it's been actually co-opted in years after that performance, as actually words have been put to it. It's called "Going Home." So that's a beautiful song that's sort of based on that melody. So this is a composer that's not American, but is trying to help to show what the future of American music could be.
And that's such a unique perspective, because he had been all over Europe at that point, and then he comes to New York, which, let's face it, at that time was probably the most American place you could be.
Right,
and had that ear to notice the difference of American life versus the life in Europe. So he's telling us where our differences are and our originality and all of that.
Yes,
He
exactly.
could compare it to everywhere else.
And he had a student of his that was African American, and he introduced Dvorak to these spirituals. And also, he took a lot of his inspiration from Aboriginal music. So those two sources, he said, this is going to be your future of American music. The African American side and the indigenous side, which has in many ways proven to be true.
Yeah.
So this is why we include it in this concert, because it's really quite something, and it kind of indicates where the future is. Then we end the first half with speaking of American composers, Copland. No American concert would be complete without Aaron Copland, and it's called an outdoor overture.
Oh, that's perfect.
So it fits so well, and it's again when you talk about Copland, you think music that's distinctly American. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to really put your finger on why that is. I think, and people have thought, that the way he writes music, the way he structurally composes music with certain intervals, the fourth, the fifth, these wide open, his music indicates and kind of suggests wide open spaces somehow. When I listen to the music of Copland, you can't help but think of the Midwest or the South. There's something very American about the way he composes, and this piece really indicates that. Full of energy, full of motion, outdoor overture. Then we play Bernstein's West Side Story selections.
Okay.
Now we're in the hustle and bustle of New York in the 1950s. Jazz-influenced music as well as sort of classical. This is what Bernstein was so great at, is melding these different styles together. That'll be a lot of fun. Then we're going to play a piece by Florence Price.
Okay.
And Florence Price is an American composer, African-American composer, wrote at the early part of the 20th century. And for lots of reasons, her music has not been heard very much as of late. Now, there's been a renaissance of her music in the last 10 years, I would say, maybe. And it's great, because this is music that's not heard very much, that's so beautiful. And here now is a composer who, again, if you want to talk about different styles, she has this African-American sensibility in the way she writes, combined with this classically trained voice. So again, this connection of these two sounds, merging, which gives her music a very distinctive style. And it's great that her music is finally seeing the light of day. In fact, a lot of her pieces were actually lost for years and were rediscovered, I think, in 2007 or something like that, in her summer cottage in Chicago. So for years, we knew that she'd written X, Y, and Z, but we didn't know where they were. There was no access to them. And they were found, this whole manuscript pile were found in this house in 2009 or something. So we've discovered so much of her work as well. So we're going to play a piece called Andante Moderato, which is a piece just for the strings of the orchestra. And again, this kind of merging of the African-American compositions with the Western idea. And then we finished the concert with American in Paris, which an iconic American composer, George Gershwin, he wrote it when he had just come back from Paris. And there's even a theme in the piece. The piece starts with this theme that represents the main character. You could say Gershwin or an American that's traveling in Paris. So there's this walking music. It sort of represents an American in Europe looking around at all the sights. And again, you talk about Gershwin, this a mix of jazz and blues and classical elements to the piece. It even has car horns in the percussion section. And there are special horns that you kind of squeeze, and then they, so there's these horns that you need to, our percussion section acquires, and it represents, of course, the city and the bustle of Paris and the horns honking. So all these elements that make this piece a real journey, a real amalgamation of what's best about America, what's best about the European tradition, all in one piece. So we can't wait to perform this concert. It's got everything in it. And like I said, to me, it's like, from Aaron today to last century, it just represents what America has looked like to composers all throughout the years. So it's a real representation of what it means musically to be an American.
just so full of different areas to pull from, and the inspirations that come from everywhere. And how you can bring different things together and they just still sound amazing.
And they sound distinctly American. Again, it's funny how that is. And you can pinpoint sort of some of the compositional reasons, but there's something about this. It's these composers, that's what they lived, that's what they believe, that's where they perform their art. So it's something that's ingrained in them, and it's just great to play these pieces. So it's going to be quite a celebration concert.
I think so. Made in America. Absolutely.
They all were.
They all were. So I'm definitely excited for that concert in June at Longwood. That's going to be just special.
Really special. Real party.
And we're going to be adding to the party. We're excited to be doing Dare to Declare.
Yeah, now tell me about that. That's interesting. You only told me about that today. This is very interesting. I love it.
So this is something else from Colin Hanna. Okay. He's the vice president of our board, and he actually was a commissioner at one point. So he definitely knows what's going on with different programs that are happening, and he is very excited for America 250. And one of the things going on is Dare to Declare, which is people all over reading the Declaration of Independence.
Right.
So the idea is to, record yourself saying it, kind of submit it into America 250. There's a whole kind of category for it. It's its own initiative.
Okay.
And what we're going to do is get the whole audience, so talk about a community event and experience. We're going to be getting everyone to be saying the Declaration of Independence together at the start of the concert.
That is great.
So we'll all get to Dare to Declare together.
That is great. So in their program, they'll have the declaration.
They'll be able to read it.
I hope are we gonna have like a phone cam or something there we should record all that's gonna be fantastic.
Can you imagine just everyone all together, the Declaration 250 years later.
Yeah. And then the John Williams begins, like it's fanfare.
My goodness.
That'll
be exciting.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, I can't wait for it. So we have to wait until June for that
this
concert.
Fantastic concert.
I know. I'm so excited for it. But if you can't wait for it, we do have another concert between now and then. That is our Mother's Day concert. It is our string quartet. It's at the Winterthur Gardens Library and Museum. So kind of also in line with the America 250 with the historical aspect of the gardens. And you can come to our concert, and additionally, you can add on to your ticket access to the gardens and looking at their museum and all of the historical pieces.
Aren't we lucky to play in venues like Longwood Gardens and like Winterthur? I mean, these are two of the most beautiful grounds and stages you can imagine. And here we are in both of them. I think it's great.
And even our fundraiser is at DuPont at Brandywine. Yes.
Well, I guess if you're in this area, you have a certain connection. When I first moved here, I remember I got right into the whole DuPont story.
Yes.
I dove both feet in first with just the stories of the brothers and all the history of the company and Longwood and everything else. So anyway, so Winterthur is a great place to play. I was saying that it's hard to even know that there's a lecture hall there. When you walk in, right? When you park and you walk in the doors and you go right in front where the tickets are, then you go this way to take the tram and off you go. If you go left down that hallway and just sort of, keep going that way, you come to this really beautiful lecture hall. And that's where the string quartet will be. And it's a string quartet, which is really, as the name implies, 4 string players, 2 violins, viola, and a cello. All right, there's your string quartet. And these are members of the Brandywine Valley Symphony. And as you mentioned, too, it's another sort of America 250 themed program. And they're going to be performing 3 pieces. One of them, which is so beautiful, is Amazing Grace. Arranged, or not arranged, but adapted by Jennifer Higdon, who is a very prominent and wonderful American composer. So she took Amazing Grace and sort of adapted it to string quartet. So isn't that a great
That'll be
piece?
Beautiful.
Then we're going to play the Adagio from Barber's string quartet, and most listeners who know that piece know it in the string orchestra version. It's often played with a full string section, the barber, but they're going to play the original version, which is from the string quartet, barber string quartet.
We love an original.
Yeah, and it works, and it's so interesting if you know the adagio for strings for the full string section, which is how most people know it. It's very interesting to hear how it actually sounds originally with just the 4 instruments. And then they're going to be performing to, again, speaking of composer Dvorak, the one we talked about coming to America, he wrote a string quartet subtitled The American String Quartet, number 12. And so that's our program. So we have Dvorak, again, as we discussed quite thoroughly before, this idea of finding an American voice. So we have the American Quartet by Dvorak, the Barber Adagio for strings, for string quartet, and then the Jennifer Higdon Amazing Grace. So a very, again, provocative, interesting program, all reflecting the celebration that we're having with America 250.
It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, it's really great.
And Winterthur is also celebrating America 250, and it'll be just in time for their spring blooms.
Yeah, that's super. I think isn't the timing, we love that timing to perform there every year because it's sort of springtime, Mother's Day weekend. Isn't it often the case that they have a new exhibition oftentimes at that time, or at least, so we, again, just a little behind the scenes, when we all think about programming that concert, we are very much hand in hand with Winterthur.
Yeah.
We find out what their exhibitions are focused on. And it made sense that it was America 250 this year.
Yes.
So we took that and ran with it, and then we put this program together, the string quartet program. So we always work with Winterthur to kind of reflect what they're doing, and we try to work together that way.
Yeah. I know I keep saying that I'm excited for it, but it's always just such wonderful music.
Yeah.
And especially for Mother's Day, if you haven't made plans yet, the schedule I would suggest is brunch, and then our concert at 1, and then you can walk around the gardens for the afternoon. And I just think that's a beautiful Mother's Day.
Yeah. And there's a big difference in a way, of going to a symphony orchestra concert and going to a string quartet concert. And I love both, of course, but what's the string quartet concert, it's so intimate. You really hear the musical ideas so clearly because you just have 4 instruments playing. And it's amazing the quartet's been a vehicle for composers for years, Haydn really in some way sort of invented, you could say, the string quartet, but it's been a vehicle, as I said, for composers for many, many years. So what's been written for that group of 4 instruments is beyond amazing. And so this is a good chance for, again, someone who maybe is not too familiar with the quartet repertoire to dip their toe. Amazing Grace, that's great, the Barber, and then a Dvorak quartet. So it's a nice chance to sort of get a feeling of the quartet repertoire. And it's just a very unique type of concert because, again, it's very intimate. Only 4 musicians on the stage. Yes. I'll be there. I like to speak a little bit. I'll talk a little bit about each piece just to give the audience something to listen to. But really, it's a chance for our string players to shine in this concert.
Yes, I love strings.
Yeah, I do too.
I do
too. Yeah, it's like the human voice a lot. I always find if we're rehearsing with the strings or in an orchestral setting, and string players very much have this in their mind as they play. And it's very much like the human voice. It sustains. In the piano, you play, and the minute you play your note, it disintegrates. And that's just the nature of the instrument. And woodwinds certainly have this vocal quality. I often will talk to the orchestra about the singing quality that we're always striving to have. And woodwinds can do it, of course, with the way they approach their instrument. But talking about the strings, there's something very unique about the sound of a string melody. And the way, again, a composer can take just 4 instruments. And, it goes from the top to the bottom, the violin to the cello. So you have this range of pitches that you can work with. And so the creativity that these composers can do with 4 instruments as it is really remarkable. The journey that they can take you just with 4 instruments is stupendous. So it's a great concert, and we're very proud to put on a concert like that. Again, it's back to our variety of our offerings. Full orchestra,
yes.
Children's concerts, woodwind quintet, string quartet, brass quintet. We have it all. So we really try to feature our wonderful musicians in our season. So I'm looking forward to it.
It's been an exciting season so far, and we have
really
the 2 concerts left, and then you'll have to wait and see what we're offering for our next season.
I want to say it.
No, we have to wait.
But there's a lot of good things next season coming up. In fact, we're right at this very moment finalizing the repertoire and all the other details that go into a season. Rehearsal venues, performance venues, repertoire, guest soloists like Oliver. So all these things at this moment, as we talk today, we're putting the final touches on next season. So I already know, and boy, is it great, what it's going to look like roughly. And it's a bit like a kid in a candy store when you're programming music, because it's great to be a part of this. Of these pieces, to be able to present them, whether you're a conductor or a musician in the orchestra, whatever, the ability and the opportunity to really present these fantastic pieces is a real thrill. So I look at the season next year, I go, oh, this is going to be great. Oh, this is a good one. Oh, I'm going to love that. So there's a real, it's like a kid in a candy store. You're really programming for yourself, for the orchestra, and mainly for the audience. They're going to love this.
It'll be our 86th season and our second with our new name, Brandywine Valley Symphony.
I know. Well, that's great though, because that's it's a very exciting time for our orchestra. As you I think alluded to, a lot of new blood on our board, a lot of musicians that have been with us for a long time. Some are new. It's always the case with an orchestra. You have a variety of different musicians in the group, but a lot of them have played with us for years and years.
Yes.
And it's great because you develop a relationship, not only between myself and the players, but between the players themselves. A lot of these musicians know each other. A lot of them play in different orchestras together. That's the interesting thing about the Brandywine Valley Symphony, as is other regional orchestras, is that many of these musicians play in all the different orchestras. So if you recognize our concertmaster, Eliezer, you'll see him in Allentown if you ever go to an Allentown concert. You'll see him in Delaware if you go see the Delaware Symphony. So there's a lot of our musicians make their living playing in all these different regional orchestras. So the pedigree is phenomenal. And again, I say this again, we can't do it without everybody's appreciation of it and understanding that this is important. That's what I love about our donors, and when I talk to them about the leadership circle, is that they're aware of how important this is for our community and how wonderful it is and what an experience you can have going to one of our concerts. So, it's a great joy. So we're working on next year as we speak, getting to the final. It'll be announced fairly soon, I think, officially.
Yes. Yes, we have to wait. We have to wait, but it is exciting. Kind of just stay tuned. So if you have any questions, you can send me an email at info@bvsymphony.org, and I can answer any questions that you might have.
Yeah, great.
Of course, we have our Instagram. We have our YouTube channel where this will be posted in full. We'll have clips shared with everyone, but thank you for joining us for this second episode.
Second one,
I know.
Love it. Looking forward to the next one.
I know. We could not do this without the Maddox School of Music. They are wonderful. They put the music. They put the audio with the video. They connect it for us. These are amazing microphones. We could not do it.
They really are. Exactly. Yeah, and let me give a little, I know you have a little plug to this. We're sort of tucked away just across the street from the Mendenhall Hotel, where we play one of our concerts. We play in the ballroom there, and it's just not only are they so nice to us, but the environment here is really great, and they teach all sorts of different instruments. So it's a great. Again, we often get questions from people to the symphony saying, my son or daughter is learning an instrument. Can you advise?
Where can they go?
Where can they go?
Lessons?
And a lot of our musicians teach, certainly, but I think this in Chadsford and Kennett Square is a great resource if you have a young person who's learning to learn the drums or piano.
You were mentioning before we got started how wonderful the rooms are.
I know, they're well appointed. It's just a very comfortable place to come to practice. So I give them a tremendous props, and it's nice that they allow us to use their facilities and have a little chat. So it's great.
It's been wonderful working with them. Definitely can highly recommend. I think we found another one of our cultural partnerships that we have.
Exactly. Yeah. Great.
All right. Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing
Nice
all
talk.
of your knowledge and information with us.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
All right. And thank you. We will see you hopefully at our Mother's Day concert on May 9th at Winterthur at 1 o'clock.